Good afternoon. This is Attorney Steve Sabra. You're listening to Law Talk on 1480 WSAR. We do this show every Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Any calls that are law-related are welcome. Any law-related matters that are on your mind, you can call in on, and it doesn't have to be what we're talking about, although today we're talking a lot about, we continue to talk a lot about these cases that are in the news, whether it's the individual in New York, I guess on Staten Island, the individual in Missouri, the case in Cleveland. There seems to be a lot of issues. And, you know, usually if a police officer ends up being charged, the statistics and the cases seem to need something more than just the police officer is doing his job. So what I mean by that is it seems that, you know, if the officer is sort of has some kind of personal issue going on with a particular defendant for whatever reason, or you know, is not necessarily off duty, but is going above and beyond, then you have occasion where police officers are charged. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen. So the other issue I wanted to get to today, and we have a little bit more time, and we'll maybe talk about this more as time goes on. But there was the Aaron Hernandez case coming up in January, and maybe people are tired of it, but trial is coming up, and the defense attorneys filed a motion, what's called a motion in limine, to prevent the jury from hearing about what's called bad acts, prior bad acts. So, generally speaking, prior acts of the defendant that are not necessarily convictions, but other issues or other activities that this Mr. Hernandez was involved in, dealing with guns, dealing with other individuals. And so a motion in limine, if you see that term, it means a motion filed prior to the start of the trial, and generally speaking, a motion that's dealt with by the judge only prior to the start of the trial, so that you know as a lawyer what evidence is going to be allowed in and what evidence isn't. Most of the time, you go through a trial as a lawyer, and you listen and you object, and you don't know everything that's going to necessarily go on, especially in a criminal case. So, in this case, a motion in limine is filed by defense attorneys in response to the prosecution saying that they may try to get in certain evidence with regard to prior activities of Mr. Hernandez, including but not limited to this incident where he shot a supposed friend in the face in Florida, where he was involved in an incident outside a nightclub in Providence, and in addition, where he's charged with this double murder in Boston as well. So, what are the rules with regard to that? Can you say, well, this defendant obviously knows how to use a gun, so we want to get that into evidence. We're the prosecution. We want to get that into evidence in front of the jury. Well, the rule is basically this, and I'm going to read you the rule of evidence that says, evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts is not admissible to prove the character of a person in order to show that he acted in conformity therewith. Some fancy legal terms here. It may, however, be admissible for other purposes, such as proof of motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, or absence of mistake or accident. So, to give you an example, real quick, because we're just about at the end of time, is this James Cater case, which he was convicted, and it was overturned maybe 3 times, but eventually he was convicted. And what the prosecution wanted to get into evidence is a prior act where he abducted and used a very similar means to cause the death of the person through strangulation. And so they were successful in getting that into evidence because it was similar to that manner of strangulation of the prior victim was similar to the manner that was used in the case on trial, so it was allowed into evidence. That's probably a pretty good example of that kind of a situation. So we'll talk about that more as time goes on, because we'll have a lot to talk about that case, which we'll go over some of the other issues that we're going to be hearing about over the next couple of months. So we're just about at the end of our hour here. I want to tell you how to reach me at the office, the types of cases that I do, where we're located. The phone number is 508-674-0890. Again, 508-674-0890, which is the number at the office. And mostly what I do is serious personal injury cases, workers' compensation, and criminal defense. We're located at 1026 County Street in Somerset. But every Tuesday I'm here from 1 to 2. You've been listening to Law Talk on 1480 WSAR.